we head back to the base, arriving at 8:30, which left me just enough time to finish the construction on my cockroach containment device. I call it the cock cage.
Cock cage just because you decided to name it and I hate you. Hi YouTube, welcome back in hell. My name is Cypress and today we'll be watching a video by Reggie. This is Fallout 4 but the roaches double every day.
Hypothetical situation. You're sitting at home and the entire world plunges into nuclear winter. Life gets a bit worse. Every morning you develop a new and
a bit? Just a bit? I don't like this hypothetical situation.
Exciting form of cancer. And every night, somewhere in the world, an orphan is dissolved by acid rain.
Good. No, I'm kidding.
Not even the bad part. The bad part is the cockroaches. We don't really know why, but they're doubling every single day.
You know, fun fact. I don't know why I feel the need to say this, but I've actually never seen a cockroach in real life. I've only ever seen them on TV. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe I will start to see them now.
2 weeks later, you've got 16,000. Give it another week, and it's 2 million. And no, they're not very friendly. To survive this insectoid nightmare, you'll need to build your defenses, hone your skills, and utilize a vast arsenal of weapons, or you'll die painfully. The choice is yours, and that wasn't a hypothetical. It's real. So let's get to work. But first, I have to tell you something. I am a proponent of diversity. I don't think we have enough of it. In fact, I want to maximize the different—
Wait, what does it say? Players can't opt to play as a giant brainless tumor. Oh. Study 64% of marriages held together by Netflix. That's really bad.
Until we achieve a fantasy world with goblins, dwarves, and the Turkish.
Why are the Turkish something separate?
I petition NASA to slow the Earth's rotation and tidally lock us to the sun, such that America would constantly bask in the sun's radiance, while China would exist in perpetual darkness and slowly evolve into a mole society. I thought that would be pretty interesting. I also had a plan to turn the Philippines into gnomes, but unfortunately the frauds at NASA were afraid of my visionary ideas, and they promptly rejected my proposal, which sent me into a deep depression. The only thing that was able to cheer me up was the sponsor of today's video, Zenless Zone Zero. Don't let the acronym fool you. ZZZ is a very exciting free-to-play 3D urban fantasy action role-playing game. That's
what a way to go into the sponsorship.
ARPG for short. The game features a futuristic setting in the post-apocalypse where you can utilize a wide variety of characters to explore the world, battle countless enemies, and find new gear. But most importantly, Zenless Zone Zero just entered version 2.0, which introduces a brand new area, Waifei Peninsula, that you can explore using one of the new agents, Yijuan, Pan Yinhu, or Ju Fufu. My favorite is Yixuan, because she's not a wild animal or a child. Additionally, Zenless Zone Zero is celebrating its anniversary this month by offering special events for players to earn rewards, such as a free S-Rank agent, an S-Rank W engine, 30 limited channel pulls, and much more. Personally, I like to keep it simple. I select Yijuan.
I don't know how this helps with depression. I don't know, doesn't the gacha make you feel depressed?
Locale and horribly beat its denizens until I forget about the stresses of my modern life. It feels good, and I want that for you too. So give Zenless Zone Zero a try for free. It's available now on PC, mobile, PlayStation, and it just launched on Xbox. So click the link in the description and use code ZZZ20REGGIE to get started with 60 polychrome and 6,666 Denny.
I love these numbers.
How exciting. Now, back to the video. The rules of this challenge are very simple. On day 1 at exactly 12 p.m.
You're too late 1 minute though.
On and try to kill me. I will defeat them because I am marginally more intelligent. Every day after that, their numbers will double until presumably the entire map is covered in 10 million rad roaches. At which point,
I hope no one watching this has like a phobia for roaches. If you do, I am so sorry.
God himself won't be able to save us. Also, just for fun, we're playing on 400% game speed, so the days are very short.
How is this fun? Your fun and my fun are like two different things, man.
The insect apocalypse is to destroy their leader, the king of roaches, Reggie Blataria. Calling yourself the king of roaches is basically a self-diagnosis for schizophrenia, but it's not slowing him down any, because Mr. Blataria is a very powerful enemy that commands an army of insects, and he won't even spawn onto the map until we reach level 35. So our goal is to power level to 35 before the roaches overwhelm us, then confront their king and put a stop to this once and for all. I did consider attempting this challenge on survival mode, but I get enough cock and ball torture at home, so I don't need to outsource that to Todd.
I did did not need to know that.
We'll be playing on very hard. Our journey begins in the bathroom mirror. Here, we meet humanity's last hope for survival. His name, Gutfuckman, and he will become the greatest exterminator to ever live. Now, in order to kill a roach, we need to think like a roach. So I set my intelligence to
I just realized he had a roach on his shoulder. Ew.
1 and max out my luck. This is going to allow us to access the Idiot Savant perk for power leveling.
Idiot Savant. You're not stupid, just different. Randomly receive 3x XP from any action, and the lower your intelligence, the greater the chance.
Everything else doesn't really matter, so just spend your remaining time giving your character acromegaly and call it a night. Once that's done, we skip the opening tutorial and quickly fight our way through the vault. Now outside in the world at 1 p.m., the clock is ticking. At this point, you've probably got a few questions for me. How will we power level to 35? Where is the Roach King? And most importantly, why is there a dead Pakistani on my couch? I'll answer most of these in time. Just follow along. For power leveling, we've got a plan, and the first step is to obtain Preston Garvey. Unfortunately, a couple other people had the same idea, so I had to use my superior diplomatic skills to convince them to change their mind.
Yeah, show them.
Would be proud. After that, we joined up with Preston.
How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. What are 6 ways of making people like you?
After that, we joined up with
so to make people like me, I just need to kill people? Got it. I'll write that down.
Jumped in a suit of power armor, died painfully to the local wildlife, and then made our way back to Sanctuary by 11 p.m. Now that we've got access to Settlement Building, I can reveal my master plan. Ladies and gentlemen, shelving. Allow me to explain. Building settlement furniture rewards experience, and the cheapest thing to build is wooden and metal shelving. We are going to deconstruct every item in this entire town and turn it into thousands of shelves. If we do this right, we can probably hit level 15 by tomorrow morning. So, let it begin.
Let the building begin!
I start demolishing everything. Street lamps, fence posts, entire houses, even that chair you're sitting on. I'm afraid that's actually a shelf in place.
Actually, you know what? You can take my chair. This chair is so shit. I'm not even kidding. It's so super shitty. If you are someone that sits on the chair as much as I do invest in a good chair, please. Do not buy the IKEA chair. I'm waiting for my fancy chairs to arrive because this is just not good, man.
Have to take that.
Take my chair.
Face contorts in horror as I tear the plumbing out of his walls just to build more shelves, but he's powerless to stop me. I work all night and into the morning until the first spawn of roaches hit. 2 of them attack me, but I'm so hopped up on construction fumes and asbestos that they never stood a chance. By destroying all public infrastructure, not only do I receive the satisfaction of knowing Mama Murphy will die of hypothermia, but I also receive 1,100 steel ingots and 2,600 planks of wood. So now we can begin the method. Enter build mode and find a wall you really like. This part is important because you'll be staring at it for the next 2 hours. Now start building shelves. Each one gives us 2 XP, and since I am
is he just spamming shelves in one place?
A high chance of triggering Idiot Savant to triple our XP gains. Once you're all out of materials, deconstruct the shelves for a 50% refund and start all over. By the time you're done, the sound of your own neurodivergent laughter should be burned into your brain like a paddle prod. And you should also be level 16. Which is nearly halfway to our goal of 35. Not bad.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
To increase our damage reduction and help us gather more ammunition. But with no more wood or metal, it's time for us to move on to phase 2, research and development. In a matter of weeks, we'll be wading through a sea of roaches. And if we want to come out on the other side not looking like hammered dog shit, we're going to need to build a roach-killing exoskeleton. In terms of physical protection, our current power armor exists somewhere between Iron Man cosplay and trench coat full of semen.
Where did that come from? Where did that come from? Trench coat with semen. Out of nowhere. Nothing in this video hinted to me that it would be that.
Which is to say, I really don't want to wear it, and it's time to make some changes. First stop is the robotics disposal ground. I head there, making sure to kill as many innocent people as I can in the process. Their 7 experience points are an invaluable contribution to humanity's survival, and the world will not soon forget them.
We are in a virus to the earth anyway. Keep going.
At the destination, we scavenge a few fusion cores, convince a robot to kill himself, and then come across some T-51 power armor. This is a nice upgrade. After that, I raid the nearby satellite base for supplies. This is where we meet a man named Ak, who cripples my brain with a minigun. Very cool, Ak. Thank you. By the time we're done,
I actually liked him. He had such a special name. He didn't deserve to die.
Socializing with the locals, we get hit with the next wave of roaches. Only 4 this time, so nothing too serious.
Oh yeah, that's not too
Arriving
bad.
back at the base, we add our T-51 pieces onto the power armor. Now we just need some legs, an arm, and a torso to complete the set. Fortunately, along the west edge of the map, there's half a dozen armor spawns, so I set a waypoint in that direction and get to work. Arriving at a Bible camp, I kill all the counselors to stop them from molesting me. The camp leader even dropped this legendary wrist guard that turns me invisible after being hit. Very nice. Oh, and also, I found Professor Goodfeels. In
Hi,
the grim dark
Goodfeels.
future of Fallout 4, even the robots are addicted to fentanyl.
Wait, are they for real?
Reach the ration stockpile, where I am warmly received by several Molotov cocktails and an attack dog. After returning the favor, I loot a T-51 leg and a combat shotgun, which I made sure to test out on the next wave of roaches. Tomorrow's spawn will be 16, then 32. So we're running out of time to finish this armor. Moving on, we come across a barn with a T-51 left leg. Now we just need the arm, and I think I know where to find it. The only thing standing in our way is my least favorite enemy in the Fallout franchise, Flying Bug.
Why is this? Why is it like that? Isn't it supposed to be his butt? Ugh.
I am a simple man. I see a stingwing or a cazador and I experience suicidal ideation. No exceptions. My first attempt at killing the stingwing involved me shooting at it, doing no damage, getting poisoned, and then being unable to heal myself because my legendary armor turned our Pip-Boy invisible. Shortly after, I die in the streets, only to realize my most recent save was an hour ago.
Oh shit, I hate it when that happens. I hate it so much when you've made so much progress and then you die. So
After an hour
painful.
of killing, I worked my way back to the stingwing. This time, we used a hunting rifle to get it to 20% health, before miraculously missing a headshot at point-blank range and it dying on the spot. Now listen, I've been outsmarted by bugs before, but this is getting a little ridiculous. So for the third attempt, I brought out the minigun, and things went a little differently. Each one of those bullets could have been a dead rad roach, and for that, I will never forgive the stingwing population. Anyway, with that taken care of, I made my way to this military convoy, found the last piece of armor, and fast-traveled back to the base to complete our set. It looks positively beautiful, but it's missing one thing, something emblematic of the human race that makes us fundamentally better than the bug.
What is that? I cannot think of anything.
That thing is capitalism. By harnessing
Oh,
the power
yes!
of branded sponsorships, our extermination
yes!
exoskeleton now has increased damage and energy resistance.
Oh,
The
really?
communist bug maxers don't stand a chance. So we're on day 4 of the Roach apocalypse. We're level 17 with a full set of power armor. This is pretty good, but we're only 1 week away from 1,000 roaches trying to rip us limb from limb. So what's my next move? I ask myself this question, and I answer it intuitively. I need a flamethrower. Now there's probably a lot of
We all need a flamethrower. I need a flamethrower. I need a flamethrower for everything.
but I like doing things the hard way. We're going to travel across the map to a place full of people who hate me, have several flamethrowers, and at least one of them wants to throw us in a giant pot of molten iron. I believe this will be a spiritually enriching experience. So I
believe
fast travel to
too.
a nearby farm
If
to
you
begin the
believe.
journey. I arrive at the farm just in time to spawn 16 roaches on the helpless inhabitants. This is what we call a happy accident. After cleaning up the roaches, I get back on the road toward the metalworks. Normal roads might have speed limits or a toll booth to slow you down. Fallout roads slow you down by forcing you to spend 20 minutes beating a scorpion to death with a tire iron. This is an element of the post-apocalypse that I find personally disagreeable. Anyway, after using the scorpion's liquefied remains to fill a pothole, I did some looting, found a sledgehammer, and then made my way to the Finch farm. Here we find Abraham Finch, who is terribly distraught
Hi,
because his
Abraham
son
Finch.
Jake just ran off to join the raiders over at the metalworks. I look into his eyes and smile reassuringly. Don't worry, old man, I'm going there right now to kill everyone.
For
Quest
money.
accepted. I arrive at what I believe is the metalworks, but I wasn't 100% sure until I stumbled into a shed full of flamethrowers. Oh yeah, this is
Ooh.
exactly where we want to be. All we have to do
Exactly,
now
yeah.
is kill everyone inside, take their weapons, and then we'll be prepared for the
yeah.
next week of roaches. From the
yeah.
perspective of an invasion, my assault against the metalworks was an astonishing failure. But as a metaphysical exploration of the very concept of pain, it was a remarkable success. You see, the problem is this little skull right here. This is the equivalent of the skull and crossbones you can find on a bottle of drain cleaner, meaning this is incredibly dangerous, and you'll probably die if you drink it. But that didn't stop me.
Why would no? Don't drink it.
and it won't stop me now. Eventually, after
Of course you will do it. I don't know. What was I expecting? Of course you would drink it.
and countless sledgehammer homicides, we managed to fight our way into the metalworks. Our power armor, for lack of a better term, is absolutely f***ed, but I didn't let that hold us back. In fact, I started role-playing as whatever the opposite of an occupational health and safety officer is, because I'm just running around beating people with a hammer. Wow,
I love
thank
it.
God this guy's wearing a hard hat. Otherwise, he could have got really hurt. I decided to yes-and my own roleplay by unlocking this robot and programming him to shoot people with railroad spikes. This is the kind of work environment I can endorse. Once everyone's dead, I raid the lunchroom and use a collection of coffee pots and dinner forks to repair my armor. Then we head into the last area to confront the final raiders. Arriving there, I find a raid boss named Slag, and also Abraham's son, Jake, who's having second thoughts about joining a gang of criminals that get impaled by railroad spikes for a living. I had this whole plan about how I was going to convince Jake to leave the raid.
I forgot about his name. God f***, man. Walk away, Jake. You don't have to do this.
and return to his father. But before I could do any of that, I accidentally spawned 32 man-eating roaches.
Accidentally, sure. If you say so.
Messy. In fact, I'm pretty sure I beat Jake to death with a sledgehammer.
I thought you were gonna get him back.
Slag's bodyguards and then spent 5 minutes determining how many concussions were required to liquefy this man's brain. The
How
answer
many?
was 47. One Slag was
47? That's a tough guy.
dead. I looted his incendiary sword, grabbed some
shish kebab.
flamethrowers, and threw Jake's body into the pot of molten iron. Sorry, bud, but if your father was to find your pulverized corpse, that would implicate me in a murder which I did commit, but sincerely don't want to be punished for. After that, I leave the metalworks and go back to Abraham to receive 300 XP for, quote, trying to save his son.
Oh my god, you're such an evil person, that guy. And you lied. You just said you would get him back, and instead you just killed him. And then you had the audacity to go back and get the XP. You belong in hell. I'll come and get you.
Let's head back to the base and prepare for the next wave of roaches. We arrive at 7 a.m. The first thing I do is modify our flamethrower, swap it over to a napalm fuel tank, increase the capacity, and elongate the barrel. Much like a purebred dog, hundreds of years of inbreeding have resulted in the modern exterminator being reduced to a pale imitation of his forefathers. Pesticides and sticky traps. These are the weapons of a coward. But a napalm flamethrower and 5-ton military-grade exoskeleton, this is how bugs were meant to be killed. It's about 8 a.m., which gives us 4 hours to prepare our defenses for the wave of 64 roaches. We build a few generators, some fog lights, and a combat platform to await our destiny. Our destiny spawns gracefully on the bridge in front of us, and I waste no time
That looks so
incinerating it,
goofy.
stripping the flesh from its corpse, and then cooking it into a delicious meal.
Honestly, that's a lot of protein, you know.
Things are going to get pretty serious from this point, and we're still 15 levels away from being able to kill the Roach King. So how are we going to close that gap? Well, there's two options. Option A, when we were at the metalworks, I picked up the schematics to build
Picket
copper
fences.
statues. These give a ton of experience and can easily power level us if we're willing to use an item duplication glitch to generate infinite copper. I tested this out on another save, and I can assure you, it works very well.
Oh my
However,
God.
I personally believe glitching and exploiting to be a shameful tactic.
It's a shameful tactic, and still you did it. I am so
Used
disappointed.
by the British to undermine our moral integrity.
Yo, why the f is a hair on this food? Actually, I don't want to know.
So instead, we'll be doing option B, which is waiting. In a few days, thousands of roaches will try to eat us, but if we're strong enough, we'll eat them first, and we'll be rewarded with thousands of experience points. So we're going to fortify our defenses to stab, crush, shoot, and incinerate our way to level 35. But first, we'll need to scavenge some supplies, because this ain't gonna cut it. My primary goal is to construct a containment chamber, which will allow me to concentrate the roach population
Smart.
in one location for a more
Smart.
convenient genocide. I feel compelled to explain that this is not an
Wait, I
allegory
like
for
where
the
this is going. He's like making some kind of contraption with weapons and shit. I like this.
Holocaust. Please stop reporting my video. It's nearly noon and the construction isn't complete, but luckily I don't think we'll need it yet. You see, when leveling up, I grabbed this perk right here. Pain Train is a power armor based ability.
Sprinting into enemies while wearing power armor now causes severe damage and more powerful stagger. Robots and oversized enemies are immune to this stagger.
That allows you to turn your body itself into a weapon of destruction.
I like that.
By sprinting into our enemies, we can damage them. Against a full-grown man, this is rather inconvenient. But against a roach, I suspect it will be lethal. Now it's time to find out. And remember, this upcoming insect genocide is sponsored by Sugar Bomb's breakfast cereal. When you feel that crunch, you know it's gotta be Sugar Bombs. 12 p.m. sharp. 128 roaches spawn on the bridge in front of us, and we run straight through them like an NFL linebacker blitzing a group of preschoolers. This pushed us to level 21. The strategy is working. I did a few more flybys and then Mercy killed the stragglers with an incredibly painful flaming sword. Just another day in the post-apocalypse. Day 13. This one snuck up on me. I was busy fighting the children of Adam over the contents of this passenger airplane when I lost track of time and accidentally spawned in 256 roaches, which proceeded to kick the ever-living shit out of me. This was terribly embarrassing. At first, I was killing the children of Adam because I hate them, but now I'm doing it so they can never tell anyone about what happened here. I did manage to survive this onslaught through the liberal and sustained application of copious amounts of napalm, but I'm getting low on fuel, and if we get caught out of our power armor on the next wave, it's not going to end well. As I was sifting through this pile of burnt roaches, I came to a realization. That's a lot of dead bodies, and it's starting to affect my frame rate.
I thought it was gonna say it's starting to affect his mental, but frame rate makes more sense, I guess, for him.
Which is only going to get worse unless we find a solution, and thankfully, I've got an idea. In Diamond City, there's a meat vendor that sells a wide variety of salmonella.
I love salmonella. That's my favorite.
Specifically, insect butchery. If we get that book, we can process these corpses, which will delete them and save our frame rate. So fellas, we're going to Diamond City. Based on my previous videos, I have a questionable relationship with Diamond City, but I am absolutely positive that nothing will go wrong this time. So I began my journey there, and like all journeys in the post-apocalypse, it involved me using a flamethrower to kill a mosquito, using a cancer gun to fend off the homeless, and getting chased through the streets by a suicide bomber. But by 5 a.m., I had successfully made it to the front gate, where I found Piper trying to enter.
Hey, she's hot.
The city, right?
Yes, I am a normal and well-adjusted man with a car chassis welded to my torso.
What's that? You said you're a trader up from Quincy?
No, I said I'm a psychopath who wants to wear your skin.
Oh, okay then.
Jeez, alright.
And just like that, we're in. First things first, we go to the vendor and pick up the butchery skill book.
Can't with his name, man.
I should leave. However, I get a bit distracted. Watch this guy get his head blown off. Then I tried to drag away his corpse to cannibalize it, but he got stuck on the wall of this barbershop and I couldn't get him out. So I had to leave him there as their new mascot.
Diamond City's barbershop level-headed prizes, beards and hair and hats. Honestly, this is a good picture, but at the same time, I do not think this is good promotional material because are you saying they will cut your head off if you will do your hair here? They're so bad, you'll lose your head.
Just a little off the top, eh fellas? By the time I was done dicking around, I realized it was already 10:30, which means I'm not going to be able to make it home before the next wave of roaches. So, Diamond City, I'm going to need your help with just one last thing.
Oh my god.
And just like that, the entire city was swarming with 512 killer roaches. The bugs enveloped the area like a skittering, crunchy blanket, and I did my best to clear them out, but even with all of the citizens helping, it still took the better part of the afternoon. Also, at some point, I think I accidentally shot someone in the face.
Yeah,
because the entire town became hostile.
It's difficult.
You know the worst part? Killing them doesn't even give experience. It's just a waste of bullets.
Wait, yo, that is so sad. All of that for nothing?
Punch half the city to death to conserve my ammo. Then I spent 20 minutes jumping around killing the last of the roaches before leaving the city under a healthy amount of incoming gunfire. Until next time, Diamond City. After our escape, we head back to the base, arriving at 8:30, which left me just enough time to finish the construction on my cockroach containment device. I call it the cock cage.
Cock cage just because you decided to name it and I hate you.
I won't lie, I was scared, but I manned up and ran headfirst into this wall of flesh. My frame rate grinds to a halt as we liquefy hundreds of insects beneath the boots of our power armor. In the mosh pit of mashed up insects, I can't even tell what's alive and what's dead. So I just keep stomping. Heading toward the exit,
that actually is what it looked like.
Under the impression I'd killed them all. However, I was very wrong, because not long after, hundreds of roaches sprang forth from the biomass and pushed me back through the hallway until I ran out of minigun ammo. Dear God, we're about to lose containment. I have to pull the emergency shutdown lever. I battle my way through 2 frames per second and flip the switch. This activates 4 emergency flamethrowers in the hallway, which prevent any more roaches from escaping. After that, I finish off the rest of the bugs with my sword as I realize what I've gotten myself into. I hate to say it, but the cock cage is getting a little cramped. The original plan was to fix this by butchering all the corpses, but that made a lot more sense when it didn't take me 20 minutes just to select a single body. The good news is that wave power leveled us to 32. Only 3
We're
more
almost
levels to go,
there.
and the Roach King will spawn, we'll kill him, and then I can shoot myself in the chest and
Why would
die
you do
happily,
that?
knowing I'll never have to do this challenge again.
Listen, no one is telling you to do this challenge. You are the one who decides to do these challenges, man.
My computer won't be able to handle doubling the wave again. And I don't think you want to watch the rest of this video in 6 frames per second. So I have made a horrifying decision. Instead of spawning in the next wave of 2,000 roaches, we'll spawn in 500 Mega Death Roid roaches.
Mega
they have
Death?
8 times the attack, 8 times the health,
are they
triple
bigger?
speed, and they're fucking huge. Oh, also they
yeah.
possess godlike omniscience, which means they can detect me from an entire cell away. So hiding won't be an option.
I don't know. I think I would take the 6 frames per second, honestly. If I was you.
Hero of an FPS nuke, so we'll need to find a new extermination arena, and I've got one in mind. The Starlight Drive-In is a large area fielding several buildings for shelter and also a number of pre-war cars that can be exploded to deal massive damage to the bugs. I think this is our best chance at survival, so I made my way to the drive-in and waited for the next wave. As I was lighting this car on fire, I felt a familiar feeling, the feeling of my frame rate being crucified as 500 Anavar-infused rad roaches spawn into the world. Luckily, I spawned them on top of this car right as it exploded, and it barely even made a dent. The roaches chased me across the drive-in as I bathed them in Molotov cocktails to very limited success. I try to slash my way
my
through their
God.
hordes, but they're quickly ripping apart my power armor.
would never do
Desperately,
this to
I seek
myself,
refuge in
man.
the projection tower. Locking myself inside, I think I'm finally safe, only to find out the roaches are crawling through the windows and hitting me through the walls. This is hell. I climbed 3 floors higher to get out of their reach, but they're literally scaling the side of the building to get to me. This wasn't so much a difficulty spike as it was a difficulty gangbang with a 99% fatality rate. And as much as I'd love to have my body dumped in the Everglades, I can't let the roaches have that satisfaction. Alright, we need to get even higher. Over there, we can climb the projection screen. I pull out a combat shotgun and make a mad dash for the screen. The roaches are not far behind. I rush inside and slam the door shut. Thank God, we're finally safe. Looking down at the roaches, I think I'll have a nice relaxing afternoon picking them off with a hunting rifle, when suddenly we're knocked off the screen by a climbing roach.
my God.
And just like that, the horde is upon us. We're encased in killer bugs, and it is immensely painful. If you've ever been curious what it would feel like to be ripped apart by 1,000
No, I've never been curious, but I guess I will hear it now.
grappling hooks, then you should probably talk to a psychiatrist. But I imagine it feels something
Good that we're on the same page about that.
like this. The only thing keeping us alive at this point is my supernatural ability to consume my entire body weight in grilled rad roach every second. It's time to resort to plan B. You see, I spent 2 hours this morning placing landmines in a nearby field, and like it or not, running through an unmarked minefield currently represents our best chance at survival. So I forced my way through the dog pile
you
and
had
led the
a plan
bugs
all
into our
along.
trap. The roaches stormed the field and were lit up by about 3 dozen anti-personnel mines. This managed to thin their numbers down to about 100 at the cost of accidentally breaking both of our legs. After this mildly traumatic event, I briefly sought refuge inside a boxcar, and I also tried a watchtower. Both of them terrible choices. It wasn't until we made it to this storage shed that we finally had some semblance of safety. In case you're wondering, it's 5:30. We spent 5.5 in-game hours pissing our pants and getting curb stomped by roaches, but now we've got the upper hand. I spent the next 6 hours exercising my Second Amendment rights until the number of bugs was sufficiently low for me to meet them in the field for melee combat. By 11 p.m., it's finally over, and we're level 37. Finally, Finally, we can confront the King
boss.
Roach and finish this. But first, we're going to need one thing. After repairing our armor, I head to the robotics disposal site, where hidden among the burnt-out cars, we find this. A Fat Man mini nuke launcher, and over at the satellite station, exactly one mini nuke. This should be more than enough. Let's go introduce the Roach King to the concept of dying in nuclear Armageddon. I've never actually met him before, but apparently he's somewhere near the Corvega factory, so we head in that direction. After some traveling, we arrive there, but the only person I can find
who's
is
that?
clearly not a
Behemoth?
fan of the channel. Briefly running for my life leads me to a bombed-out ruin, which was strangely populated by rad roaches. And then I see him, Reggie Blataria, the leader of the Roaches. He's fielding pretty nice
Reggie.
armor and a minigun. But after what we just survived, this should be a piece of cake. We've only got one ammo, so I take my time lining up the perfect shot, before remembering I'm firing a nuclear missile. So as long as I hit the building, we'll be fine. Enter VATS. 9% chance to hit, no problem. I send it, and then
Is he gonna miss it?
as the mini nuke flies
He's
through the
missing
air, Wave 12 spawns in, an entire goddamn wall of 1,000 mega roaches. Dear God, they've absorbed the nuke. It feels as if the gods themselves are mocking us, laughing in our face. But that's just my idiot savant perk triggering 500 times in a row. How humbling.
God.
The surviving roaches quickly swarm us as I power level into the mid-40s. I force my way into the building to finish off Blataria, but he escapes out the window as his bugs delay me on the stairs. I follow him outside and get a few good hits off before his roaches throw me 30 feet across the field like some kind of arthropod tidal wave. Every time I close the distance on him, the bugs launch me across the parking lot, but he's running out of bugs. Roach King makes the mistake of stepping out of position, and we charge straight into him, landing the finishing blow with our sword to finally put an end to his reign of tyranny. We finish off the remaining roaches, exit the power armor, and inspect his charred corpse. On it, we find the junky
Wow.
shish kebab, which is the exact same weapon I've been using this whole time, except this one does more damage if you're addicted to heroin. Honestly, I couldn't have asked for a better weapon. Well,
Don't do drugs.
there you have it. He's dead.
Homeless man
No king
slain.
rules forever. However, without their master's command, the insect scourge will become an even greater threat to this world. Control must be maintained. Like it or not, there must always be a
Roach King. Oh, you're the new Roach King.
That's going to be it for this video. We've utilized a wide array of extermination techniques and our own brain damage to power level to 35 and end the insect apocalypse. I want to thank this month's patrons for supporting the channel, and finally, thank you
No,
for
thank
watching.
you for this video. That's great. Hi, thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, please don't forget to give a like to the video and subscribe to my channel. I also stream live on Twitch and on YouTube, so follow me on Twitch or just turn on the notification bell on YouTube to know when I go live. I hope to see you there. Bye!